Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Being a fireman, father, veteran, husband, world record holder, and Ironman, he brings stories of experience to impact your life while challenging you to live it. What do you want from your life? Why do you want it? Are you willing to go through the challenges to get there? If you have the courage to take that first step, let this podcast be the catalyst to start your fire while you bring the resilience to make it continue to burn. Our lives are made up of moments called right nows. So let's get started. Forged in the Fires podcast with your host, Fireman Rob, begins now.
We got the same blood, the same blood. Stay by your side, it's ride or die. We've got the same blood.
Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast. This is your host again, Rob Verhelst, better known as Fireman Rob. Great to have you back this week. This week we're going over something that I love to go over because it is probably one of the best catalysts. It's the second catalyst in the book. If you want to pick up the book, it is launching March 17th on Amazon. You can pre-order right now the audiobook. That book was a labor of love and is something that is so important to me, and I was so excited to be able to deliver it to everybody that needs that little boost, that little catalyst to maybe find what they're looking for in their lives. So this week we're talking about ownership, not house ownership, but personal ownership. And the focus quote that I have is, you cannot lead where you do not go. That's such a powerful statement. And I always tell the story about my son. He plays hockey and he's a lot older now than the story was. When the story happened, he was about 8 or 9 years old and just had begun his hockey career. And for myself, I played basketball and water polo, so I had no idea what hockey was or what it entailed or how difficult it was. And he went to his first practice, and I remember this explicitly. He went to his first practice, and he gets out on the ice, and the first part, he was doing great, just doing amazing. And then all of a sudden, it started to dwindle off. Now, this is an hour-long practice, and it starts to dwindle off his effort. And I'm like, what is going on out there? And by the end, it was like, oh, what are you doing on the ice? But it was interesting because he came off the ice, and I'm sitting over here going, why? Why would you not give the effort? And I asked him, I said, what happened at the end? Why were you not pushing yourself? And like any good 8 or 9 year old would do, he looks at me and goes, Dad, this is hard. And well, that makes sense. And so, as any good adult would do, what I did is I went to Dick's Sporting Goods. I purchased way too much hockey equipment. I signed up for an old Buzzards League. Yes, that's right, an old Buzzards League. And I went and I started to play hockey. And, you know, we're so good in that league that we didn't even have practices. That's how good we were. Not really. I went to my first game. I was on the third line. That's how good I was. And, you know, we warmed up. I thought I was doing great, skating around that ice, just phenomenal. Get to my first shift. I get over the boards. That's a success in itself from not falling on my face. I get on the ice, and this puck, honestly, this puck does not stay in one position at all. It's not like basketball where you can control it that long. This puck went from one end, I started to skate to that end. It went to the other end, I started to skate to that end. Literally by 15 seconds into this game, I wanted to stop. My heart was racing so fast. And it was that moment that I realized that my son was pushing himself as far as he could go in those moments. I had to own up that I didn't know what he was going through. And that's one of the biggest lessons that you can learn is if you don't know, don't make comments or criticisms of what you don't know about. Do it yourself. Figure it out. Figure out how hard things are before you can actually own your words that you're saying about those actions. And so the next time we went to practice, I looked at my son and I said, you know what? Just getting out that ice, I'm so proud of you. Get out there and do it. And it was a humbling experience, but it's one of those things as a parent, you understand that a lot of times you don't know what your kids get into. It's very difficult to be able to put those expectations on those kids to find out that it is pretty hard to do. And at that age, it's like, holy cow, they're getting out there and competing at that level. That's amazing. And so ownership is truly about finding a way to figure out why you're doing it. And at the same time, if you succeed or if you fail, that you take the ownership to the next level and say, you know what, that's on me. No matter what words you say, no matter what actions you do, it is probably one of the most impactful and important things you can do in your life is to own your own life. Now, for me, a lot of owning my life has been about dealing with PTSD, owning that I am not going to be whole, but I can also still exist and still find happiness, find contentment in my life on a daily basis. One of the biggest things that I did that was really challenging to me was I had a lot of stuff that I had kept from when I was at 9/11, from the baby blanket to different pictures and things like that. And one day I really wanted to take that next step of kind of moving through and moving on with my life. I see a 9/11 as an impact moment in my life that changed its direction, that caused a lot of different things to happen in my life. Yet it also had an anchor feeling to it. And so I needed to offload some of the things that were causing me to stay stagnant. And so what I did is I took some of those, in essence, memories, and what I did is I packed them up and I sent them to the 9/11 memorial in New York City. Now, I remember explicitly going to the UPS store, and Brandon Volley, you're a great supporter of our Fireman Rob Foundation, being able to send bears, and he was also there that day that I sent away this stuff, this memorabilia, these memories to the 9/11 memorial. And I remember handing it to him and breaking down because it felt not only powerful to be able to release the pain and the time that I had felt like this was my identity, but it also felt sad to give up something that was so personal. But I gave it up because it was not only a matter of healing, but it was also a matter of giving things to others to be able to have them realize the impact of those days. The impact not on a large scale, but on a personal scale. The number of people that were changed for the rest of their lives. So when I talk about ownership, I really talk about taking your life, grabbing it, and making it your own. Your actions, your inactions, your words, your posts online, all these things that you do, you need to own up to them. You need to own them for the better or for the worse. Because at the end of the day, your life is yours. And you need to choose the path. It won't always be a straight one, but trust the journey, because when you own every decision, every action, every passion that you have, it's going to be a great one. Remember, your strength is in your passion. Go out there and make it a great day.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, and please share this episode with a friend or family. To find out more about Fireman Rob or reach out about a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.